Why do people choose to get muddy in a modern era where mess can be avoided? Humans have formed clay into useful and decorative objects for thousands of years. Since the Industrial Revolution, pottery has been produced with assembly line perfection, saving creators the time, work, and money that was once spent making ceramic items individually by hand, increasing efficiency and reducing costs. Despite the ease with which pottery is made by machines, potters have continued to work making small batches or one-of-a-kind pieces with minimal assistance from machinery. In today's society, pottery has experienced a re-emergence. Seth Rogen posts his latest brightly colored vases on Instagram. Professional and hobby potters are hard at work in the mud all over the world. Why, in a world where ceramic wares are easily mass-produced by machines, does anyone make pottery by hand?
So with everything being so convenient and in the now, with today, you could go to the store and just find anything and everything is readily available. It's nice to be able to have that option to find something that really speaks to you and it's unique. It's not one of a million other pieces. It's one of a one.
During the pandemic, I started, it's always been in there in the back of my mind. I'm like, how can I do this? What do I need to do this? And I started doing more research. I got some books from the library and talked to a few different people in town who were potters. And I just started doing here at home, and I started following some YouTube tutorials, and I love it.
I've been doing pottery for about 8 years now, and my mom used to take me to a local potter when she would have her open studios, and I fell in love with pottery then and knew that if I ever had a chance to do pottery, I'd probably be good at it because I like to work with my hands. After my first pottery class, I felt actually kind of drugged. I was so relaxed and it felt so good and so natural. Obviously you don't make anything really great your first try, but I had so much fun doing it.
Okay, so my start in pottery actually came when I was probably around 12 years old. My mom put me in a class when we were living in Argentina. I've always been creative. I'm a quilter and I'm a painter. And then about 10 years ago, I came back to pottery, then had an MS diagnosis, so that kind of rocked my world for about 4 or 5 years, and I didn't do anything. And then came back to it again, probably in full 4 years ago. So my journey's been a long one. I'm 58, so 50 years of ceramics.
Like I said, I'm still on this journey of finding where I fit in. Actually, at the collective that I'm a part of right now, there are some new potters, and there's some that are very artistic as far as creating these really neat pieces that aren't necessarily functional. And so it's definitely a place I'm starting to explore. Or I haven't officially started exploring, but I'm opening up to that idea of exploring. And who knows, maybe that's where my journey is meant to be, over the more functional pottery.
When making my pottery, I use a technique that's called sgraffito, so it means to scratch away. So essentially it's just kind of has a end look of lino cut, but with a variety of tools carve out a design. So as I'm doing it, it goes from an extreme of, oh, this is fun, to what am I doing to myself? But I do enjoy doing it as sort of like doodling and drawing on a piece of pottery, as opposed to making and trimming the pot and firing it and glazing it and it's done. So it's a little more of an involved technique, but I feel I can make the piece a lot more of my own and have a narrative quality to the end work.
I have some commonalities in my work, so I have a lot of flora in my work. I have a lot of bird motifs. My work is more childlike, or more naive, I would suppose you would say, more whimsical than figurative. But I don't think out my designs, and it tells. You can absolutely tell, because sometimes my stuff works and sometimes it's absolutely shocking. But you know what? You learn from it and you move on because it's not precious. Throw it out, start again, see where I go.
So wedging is a pain in the butt sometimes, but if you're having a frustrated moment, it's a really great way to release a frustration. And I always feel, I don't know, I just feel great doing pottery. I just really enjoy it. It brings joy to me.
I work full time, and so pottery for me is just a weekend hobby to keep me occupied, keep me busy. It's a creative outlet, and right now my work is mostly inspired by nature. If I'm not doing pottery, I like to go out and take wildlife pictures, especially for birds, so a lot of my work is inspired by birds. And for me right now, pottery is just a creative outlet, and sometimes I sell my work to help pay for my dirty habit, if you will.
So I think for me, it's more of an artistic pursuit than it is a making pursuit. And it's just a different form for me, a different avenue for me to express my painting and my creativity that way.
Passion, personal growth, therapy, and commerce. All possible reasons to make pottery by hand, but motivation is unique to each individual potter. As a creative outlet for self-expression, making pottery shapes the lives and lifestyles of these potters and many like them around the world. These artists make our world a creative and more human place. As Seth Rogen says about making pottery, there's something that's so therapeutic about it. It's like yoga, but if you got a thing at the end.